Hello YouTube, welcome to the 24K Sport Fishing channel. Today I think we're going to be replacing my throttle cable because it's been just a pain in the rear. Every time I get out there on the water, I shift it into the neutral, my RPMs rev up to 1,000 RPMs and I have to go into the engine compartment, pull the throttle cable back, and then it goes back to a 800, 900 RPM, which is safe to be able to shift back and forth. If you're experiencing this problem, I hope this helps you. I'm not sure how much detail is going to be in this, but whatever detail that you're able to glean out of it, I hope it helps you. Hold on your seats and here we go. So you may have noticed that there is a model number and a part number right there on the screen. Today I'm going to be using the Teleflex CCX74014, basically a 14-foot cable. So the first order of business is to figure out what's holding this panel to the boat. A lot of people try to yank it. That's not the way you want to do it. You're going to end up breaking the panel. What you want to do is get your head inside of there, try to get a feel for where these bolts are located. The panels themselves just sit and rest right on top of the side of the boat, and then it's held by a bolt all the way around. I think mine has about 4 different bolts in different locations, but if you put your hand underneath the storage compartment on the side, you're going to feel for where they're all at. Take a small monkey wrench, loosen them up. Once they're loosened out, the whole panel will come right off. Don't yank the panel off. Don't try to rip it off. It just comes right off. It's very easy. All right, so what I've done is I popped out this little cover, revealing 2 Phillips screws, which I'm going to remove right now. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to do is there's a small rubber black boot that lays right over the center of the throttle. You can just pop it right off like I'm doing. Then there's a small Phillips screw that you'll need to take off. And that should give you access to the center of the throttle. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, but I'm going to explain how I figured this one out. All right, so the instructions tell me to put it to wide open throttle, but it doesn't say forward or backwards. So I put it wide open throttle on the back. I'm sure you can see that, but inside of this is an Allen wrench, which I'm gonna have to take off. That, along with this little screw, is supposed to allow me to then remove the throttle lever handle. So let me do that, put my phone down, and go from there. Okay, and what you're going to do here is you're going to take your Allen wrench, put it into the hole where the Allen wrench screw is located, and you're going to turn it counterclockwise until it's fully loose. Don't worry so much about turning it all the way. If it drops, it's okay because it can be easily recovered. It took me about a good 10 turns. So this is the part that was a little bit tricky. It took me a good 5 minutes to figure out what I needed to do. I thought I could just yank it right off or wiggle it off, and that was not the case at all. So the trick here is just put the gear into neutral, and then you should be able to pop it right off. You can't do it any other way for whatever reason. Once you do that, the handle's clear. So you'll see that it was quite a mystery to try to figure out how to undo this thing. But it's this little screw right here. That's the little screw that's holding this handle in place. And it's right here. Right here. So you put your Allen wrench straight through to it, release it, therefore allowing you to release the entire hinge or the box or the handle. All right, let me finish. I think removing the handle was probably the toughest part because it wasn't pretty straightforward. Once I got the handle off, take the 3 screws, remove that, and that's going to release the throttle control mechanism from the panel, and it'll allow you access to then the cable, which is what you're about to see. All right, guys, we're getting a lot closer. With that part removed, I should be able to reveal the inner throttle control unit, giving me access to the necessary areas where I can take the cables off. All right, let's go and take a look at the throttle control unit. I'm going to point out where everything is. So the first thing I'm going to point out is the shifting cable. So there's cotter pins that hold that shifting cable in place. But what we're looking for is the throttle cable, and it's hanging off a copper hinge or a copper bar, which is very easily to identify. That's what we're going to replace. To make things a little easier for me, I remove the engine cover so I can get to the throttle cable very easily. So there's 2 parts I had to get off to recycle. I definitely need this because this is the part that holds the cable in and secures it. Then they didn't ship me one of these, so I'm going to reuse this. Still in good condition. So it works out. Okay, so here I have 2 different ends. Obviously I'm going to feed this end through here to the rear. And then this end will go to the main throttle control. Okay, so here I'm about to secure the cable back the way I found it. It requires the 2 bolts. I'm going to rest the cable right on the carburetor. I'm not going to put the cotter pins in case I need to make any new adjustments. It makes it easy. Okay, so I've already staged the other end of the cable on the throttle control unit, and I've screwed some of the parts back in. The only thing I haven't done is put the cotter pin back in, and that's what I'm about to do now. So the order in which everything goes back is the reverse order. So first you're going to put that black piece back on the panel with the 3 screws, and then you're going to put your throttle unit back where it belongs. You're going to put the Allen wrench screw to secure that throttle unit, and then you're going to replace your center plastic cap, and then you'll replace the rubber over it. I'm just wrapping this one up. Okay, here comes the moment of truth. So I go get my water bucket. I'm going to put it underneath the engine outdrive, fill it up with water, and we're going to start the engine. So let's see what happens. Okay guys, so the test I'm about to perform really requires water muffs, so I would not recommend doing this to anyone's boat, but because this is my boat, I'm willing to take the risk. I'm just going to shift it in forward and reverse, testing the cable. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching. That was 100% successful. It wasn't too bad. It took me about 2 hours, mostly because I was fiddling with trying to understand how to get the unit apart. But if I had to do it a second time, I'm pretty sure I can probably do it in 30 minutes or less. That wraps it up. If you guys have any questions, feel free to go ahead and send your comments, like and subscribe. My channel's really more for fishing, but today was just a maintenance day, getting ready for the season. And I hope to be able to get out there and start halibut fishing here pretty soon. See you guys out on the water. Thank you for watching.